So whether it's high art or popular fare, classic movies are often remembered for one iconic image, memorable scene,
Yes! Yes! Yes!
frequently parodied moment, or frequently quoted line of dialogue.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Or more often than not, misquoted line of dialogue.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Even if you haven't seen these films, you probably recognize these clips. The downside of those kind of cinematic bookmarks is that it can fool future generations of film lovers into thinking that there's not much more to these movies than these moments.
What you gonna do, Derek?
Show me the money!
But if they think that, they're gonna miss an essential truth.
You can't handle the truth.
These moments live on in film history long after these films have been released because they're attached to some really great movies.
I don't care.
If film lovers who haven't seen these movies can forget what they think they know about them,
No!
they may find a new favorite to add to their collection.
You talking to me?
That brings us to today's recommendation.
Fasten your seatbelts.
The setting is the mid-70s. The scene is Brooklyn, New York. During the week, our naive young hero is a good-looking nobody, slaving away at a dead-end job and proving a constant disappointment to his parents. Even as he parties his weekends away with no thought of his future, our hero harbors a secret longing. That longing to be more than he is, even if he has no idea how to articulate what that something might be. A chance meeting with a beautiful older woman brings this longing into high relief, forcing our character to re-examine his life and consider the future that might be waiting for him outside of his Brooklyn neighborhood. Today's rave review recommendation: Saturday Night Fever. Before his explosive comeback in Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction, John Travolta was a 23-year-old TV star when he took the role of Tony Manero. Tony is a preening, cocksure womanizer whose bravado masks a deep insecurity, brought on in part by the constant withering criticism of his unemployed father.
I got a raise today. How you like that?
Yeah. You know, $4 bites today. Don't even bite $3.
Things aren't much better with his mother either, a deeply religious woman who constantly compares Tony unfavorably to his older brother who's away at seminary school.
You should have been a priest like your brother. You wouldn't worry about a job.
Every time you mention Frank Jr., you gotta cross yourself.
He's a priest, ain't he? Father Frank Jr., your brother.
But all of that falls to the wayside for Tony on the weekends when he rejoins his rowdy friends for a night of dancing, drinking, drugs, and random sex.
Anybody scores, you get in the car for 10 minutes and you're out for the next guy, right?
The club is everything to Tony, a magical location where his good looks and his reputation as a dancer guarantee him respect, the most prominent table in the club, and a host of female admirers. In the role of Annette, actress Donna Preskow gives a heartbreaking performance as one such admirer.
You know, you're too much, Annette. You know that?
Tony and Annette dated briefly, but although Tony has long since moved on, Annette uses the club's annual dance competition to stay close to him. Like the films that were mentioned at the beginning of this video, Saturday Night Fever is primarily remembered for one seminal scene. Hang tight and we'll get to that scene in a few. One night, Tony spots an attractive older woman on the dance floor. An instant of chemistry between them turns into a tentative friendship when Tony runs into her at a local dance studio.
Started drinking tea recently, you know. It's really a lot more refined.
Actress Karen Lynn Gorney plays Stephanie. Even though she shares Tony's hometown roots, there's a stumbling sophistication about her that sets her apart.
I like coffee.
Tony's failed attempts to keep up with Stephanie's sophistication provide the film with some of its most memorable moments.
You know, Laurence Olivier.
Oh, him. Oh, he's good.
Yeah.
He is good.
At its heart, Saturday Night Fever is an adult coming-of-age film that avoids the cliches typical of the genre and instead focuses on the small epiphanies and the bruising humiliations that are as funny and insightful as they are true to life. Credited for reviving the dance scene of the mid-70s, Saturday Night Fever is often dismissed as that disco movie. Okay, sure, the period music and the dancing are central to the film, but they always play out in service of story and character, denoting the unity of insiders, the isolation of outsiders, moments of genuine connection, moments of superficial connection, and moments of unbridled joy, as in this scene, when Tony can't resist taking over the dance floor to impress his older brother who's back in town from seminary school. By the way, that seminal scene that this film is often remembered for, well, this is it. No discussion about Saturday Night Fever would be complete without talking about the film's soundtrack. The film's score features tracks from Yvonne Elliman, Casey and the Sunshine Band, and a list of top charting hits from the Bee Gees so long that if I were to tell you every one of them, I would sound like one of those infomercials for bringing back the hits of the 70s.
You know how many times somebody told me I was good in my life? 2. This raised today and dancing at the disco. You sure as never did.
Okay, a word to the woke. So if you like your films politically correct, let me tell you right now, this is not the film for you. It earns its R rating for violence, nudity, and some genuinely disturbing sexual content. The racism is naked, the character's attitude towards women is crude, and the language...
You.
Are you? That's you nice girl, you.
Come on, kid!
What did you say?
I don't believe this. You're trying to hang this on me.
Saturday Night Fever is often criticized for its unflattering portrayal of working-class Italian Americans. And to that charge, I have to say, guilty.
You're a cliche. You're nowhere. On your way to no place.
At the time of its release, Washington Post reviewer Gary Arnold said of the screenplay, its persistent coarseness echoes rather than illuminates the ignorance of the characters. When I first screened it, I noted that the characters in this film were people that I probably would have disdained in real life. I would have been afraid of because of their aggression, because of their racial attitudes, and because of the way that they treat people who are different than they are.
Hey, you're in heaven. I mean, who wants to die, you know?
So the inevitable question comes, Mr. Kurt, why would you recommend this film if it's filled with so much offensive content? This was a question I gave serious consideration to. Is it ever appropriate to recommend a film from another era when the character's behavior in that film would be considered deplorable by today's standards? I don't pretend to have the answer for everyone. I can only share what I came to before launching this series. And that's this. Great films are often driven by flawed characters, and Saturday Night Fever is no exception. Director John Badham and screenwriter Norman Wexler use humor, heart, and a lack of sentimentality to endear us to these characters, warts and all. And that's what great films do. They create empathy in unexpected places. Like the incredible 2005 Oscar-winning film Hustle and Flow, Saturday Night Fever uses its profane characters to weave a satisfying tale that is unexpectedly funny, shocking, surprisingly romantic, and in its final passage, deeply moving. Rave Review's Buried Treasure Meter is a ranking system from 1 to 5, indicating how easy or difficult it is to track down the film that we're discussing, with 1 being the easiest and 5 being the most difficult. On the Buried Treasure Meter, Saturday Night Fever ranks a 1 out of 5. Now that's great news. That means it's very easy to find at most major retailers. And at the time of this posting, Saturday Night Fever is available online for streaming or purchase at a number of popular online sites.
Oh, far out.
And if you enjoy Saturday Night Fever, let me recommend a 70s double feature starring Tony Manero's favorite movie star, Al Pacino. First up, from Saturday Night Fever screenwriter Norman Wexler, SERPICO, the true crime story of an honest New York City cop
You can always give it to charity, Frank.
risking life and limb in a dirty precinct.
I don't care if I'm in trouble. I don't care who gets it anymore, including myself.
But you gotta understand that a lot of people could hurt you.
And another true crime classic, Dog Day Afternoon. Director Sidney Lumet's nail-biting drama about a would-be Brooklyn bank robber having a very bad day.
Okay. You're in there, we're out here. What do we do now?
I don't know. What do we do?
Don't say!
Al Pacino. Attica, Attica, Attica.
If you're still hungry for more but can't stay for dinner, you can get more movie recommendations to go at my short-form companion series, The Skinny on the Good Stuff, where you can get more rave reviews in a fraction of the time.
You bet you can, you bet you can.
You know, I fell in love with movies as a kid growing up on Long Island. And this series is my heart and my gift to fellow movie lovers, like you. So, if this series is a hit, or it's just you and me, I'm all in. So if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to click subscribe so we can hang out again. And until next time, my fellow movie lover, I'm Mr. Kurt.
Big shot.
And you just got a rave review.